Fun fact, Todd, you can zip tie your side stand back on if it falls off and you go over a railroad. Our goal at Best Motorcycle Roads is to make your next motorcycle trip the best it can be. The bottom line is do not pack too much crap. Have fun. Agreed. So today we're talking about the top 10 hacks for motorcycle trips. So we're going to do it, top down. So at the number 10 hack for the best motorcycle trip is honestly pre-tripping. And I've talked about this a little bit, but it's true. If you take a couple hours of time riding in a parking lot before you go, it beats 10 trips, 10 motorcycle trips. And one of my favorite things to do is like emergency brake check. Because it's like you never can prepare yourself for what you think you're going to see when that happens.
Right.
We actually have an interview that's a future interview that you'll see from a guy, and you can go check him out. Easy to find, Joe Go, Joegoe. And he has all kinds of great tips for kind of slow speed maneuvering. And he also talks about turning around in gravel, which is an interesting thing to get used to because, in all honesty, you think, oh, I'm riding all hard roads. We're doing interstates. Well, it's inevitable. You will pull into a parking lot. You will pull into somewhere that it is gravel or grass, and you just better be ready and know exactly what you're getting to. So,
Yeah, another thought on this pre-trip, if you're going on a long trip and you know that you're going to have your bike packed up, it's going to be heavier on top. You're going to have, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to practice that way as well. If you're going into a parking lot or going into some gravel or going into some grass to,
yeah.
Either add some weight to your motorcycle or if you have time to put the luggage on and do that, but add some extra weight up high and try those same maneuvers because it'll make a difference for sure.
Well, that's a brilliant, by the way. And then the other one is if you're going to take another person,
Oh yeah.
do those turnarounds then. Or before you turn around, have that passenger get off the bike because you're so much better off. Let's be safe than sorry.
Yeah, that's a great point. I know how to make the slow turns with a passenger on, but you don't want to just try it on your first trip.
Well, and passengers that haven't been passengers, they get squirmy back there,
Mhm.
and it's normal, right? They think, oh, I'll help you. I'll lean over for you, Todd, and we'll
Yeah.
make this so much easier.
Or they get nervous and don't want to lean in the same direction of the bike and they try to counter lean. That's even worse.
Yeah.
I've
So
had that happen.
so it's just one of those things. Get ready, be prepared, and have those things.
Yeah.
So number nine hack for motorcycle trips is just some plastic bags of all sorts and kind of all sizes. What I love about the plastic bags is they pack invisibly, right?
Yeah.
And so we have you can use grocery bags in a pinch. I've never done this, but it makes sense. You were kind of talking about it. If you got wet feet and wet boots, that's no fun. So grab one of the grocery bags. I've heard of people, we've talked many times about latex gloves and if it gets super cold or wet to kind of slow that part down. But I've also heard of people liberating some gloves that are near the diesel pumps,
Oh yeah.
which would do the same thing. And then, the tiny Ziploc style bags for electronics, that works really well to kind of weatherproof. But caveat.
Yeah, I use some Ziploc bags several times on a trip. I've had my phone mounted on my phone mount on my handlebars. I've put the Ziploc bag over the top. You can kind of zip it, but it's better to carry a few of the twist ties.
Sure.
Twist tie it and it's fine. You can ride like that for a long time. Your phone still works. The problem is when you get off the bike and you're going to go inside, you take your phone out of there, put it in your pocket, and your wire is still hanging out. The plug is still hanging out in the rain. And then you stick that back in the bottom of your phone and you burn your phone up. So make sure
Ask me how I know.
yeah,
Doc
ask me
says.
how I know. I've done that twice. So make sure that the plug that's going to stay out there in your bike gets into that plastic and stays dry. Wrap it up if you can. Keep that dry. You mentioned the grocery bags on your feet. Like when you're a little kid and you're going to go out play in the snow, you'd put the plastic bag over your sock and then stick your whole foot inside your boot. That's a great one. And the latex gloves, I know some people are allergic to latex,
Sure.
but there's other options for that to put one of those real thin gloves inside your regular riding glove.
Yeah, and I've also heard if you have a little trouble, which some people do, when you're putting your rain gear on, if you have that plastic bag over your foot, you can kind of slip through. It just kind of slides better than hooks on that rubber or the bottom of the
Mhm.
sole too. So
Yeah, and I
yeah,
have booties with my rain
right.
gear, so I
Yeah,
don't have
yeah.
to worry about the plastic bags, but,
But
uh,
even getting those booties and everything through your rain gear,
it's tough.
I've
Yeah,
watched you struggle before. It ain't pretty.
yeah,
No.
it's tough.
Um, the number 8 hack that we've brought together for motorcycle trips is really kind of just that, it's miscellaneous, right? It's the take all, but 3 things we wanna point out. It is really good to have a small first aid kit, and it's not no one's patching up a wound of a, like a mega wound, but, you know, the little cuts, the little things, it's good to have something to get that kind of covered, and
Mhm.
you're outside, you're riding outside, just getting a small wound covered, pain relievers, like most of the time we're using a little ibuprofen. We're not really used to all some of the muscles that we're moving. And then, it's a popular, but monkey butt powder is another popular one that it's unbelievable how well that works.
Mhm.
But it's in between chafing and kind of just that soreness that you get on the saddle. But those are nice ones.
Yeah, is that similar to, like, a baby powder? I haven't
It
used it.
is. I think it's more talcum.
Okay.
Like, I don't know what the difference between baby powder, talcum powder, and
Mhm.
monkey butt is, but I know that I've used the monkey butt itself and it's worked wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good tips.
Number 7 hack for motorcycle trips, easy one. Just that stay hydrated, right? Grab some water, make sure you have it, even if it's we've talked in the past about different options for drinking while you're driving on the bike of water, but honestly, even just stopping and drinking a little water, you
Mhm.
got to do it or it'll tie you up.
Yeah. Yeah. Put a couple of, cup holders on your bike when you're gonna be riding the long distance. If you're gonna have a passenger, make sure they have a place to put a water bottle,
Sure.
because trying to trap it between your legs or stuffing it inside your jacket or shirt, it just doesn't work. It'll
No.
fall out. So, yeah, I would put a couple of cup holders if you can, or
Yeah,
yeah, anything that can hold some water for you.
absolutely. Our number 6 hack for motorcycle trips, and this was a great one. I actually needed this, but it's an electronic copy of the motorcycle's manual and download it as like a PDF to the phone or your tablet. Now, that's a really good idea. Like when we went out to Seattle, somehow along the way when we were rolling down the interstate, I think I bumped the kill switch. I'm not 100% sure, but no big deal on most bikes, cruise stop. Well, the Goldwing's an automatic. So what I think it does, it goes into protective mode
Oh,
when you do that because it technically is in gear, I think, but
mhm,
it was rolling freely. So
right.
so finally, and of course we're in the mountains of Colorado when this happened. So finally, I was able to bring up a forum that must have been an early forum that nobody had any pictures on, and it kind of said what to do. But had I had that manual, I think I could have looked it up real quick. So that's just one of those times when. And the other thing I'll tie into that is like, this stuff happens to people all the time, and
Mhm,
when you look in some of these forums, especially for your motorcycle, you'll see that, like, you can copy that down, whether that's on a piece of paper or put it in a notes in your phone. Because I read about this before, I just could not remember what the fix was,
yeah.
and so having that or the notes or something there would be one of those things, and just make sure it's, like, downloaded, not as in case you can't get to the cloud, so,
Yeah.
yeah. Our number 5 hack for motorcycle trips, and this is one of my favorites actually, is the microfiber cloths for a few reasons. One, it just seems like maybe it's because I have that black bike that the thing gets just pelted no matter what.
Right.
And so every morning I generally use a microfiber, and then I'm not gonna get into which is the best spray on cleaner water, all these different ones. I don't want to get into that argument, but when you can clean those off every day, clean your helmet off sometimes more than once a day. But boy, do those microfiber cloths were great for
Mhm.
that. And the reason why I also like those is because if you take them into your place you're staying at night, you can just easily wash them up with just water and all the junk comes off of it
Mhm.
and dry them out and they're ready. So I usually pack 3 or 4, I kind of rotate them through. The first one I use for whatever, but then the next one I'll use for my helmet, and the next time I'll use it for the bugs on the bike, and kind of rotate till I get them all filled up. But those I really love the microfibers.
Yeah, and I've seen people wet those down real well, and then at night kind of lay them across their wind or their face
Oh yeah,
shield. It kind of loosens up all that bug.
we talked about that a
Yeah,
couple episodes ago. We did the Q&A, and that does help. I mean, the best way to get bugs off of anything is to just get it wet and let it sit. I mean, that goes for anything. It's why you pre-soak things when you're washing them and things
Yeah.
like that. So yeah,
Yep.
that's a great tip. The number 4 hack for motorcycle trips, and I think this is a pretty well-known one, but you can go on lots and lots of people using Google Maps these days for these things and other ones too. And you can go and actually pre-download the maps for offline use, I think is what it's called. And it only I don't remember exactly how many it lets you download, but it's quite a few usually. And usually if you kind of put your trip in, it kind of pre-downloads for you. I
Yeah,
think.
if you know the area you're going to, if I know I'm
Mhm.
going to ride in Missouri, you can download most of Missouri, or two parts of it, half and half, and download the whole state.
Mhm.
That way, if you get into a valley or some areas where there just aren't cell towers, you're out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
your GPS will still work and it'll still work with your Google map.
Yeah, and honestly, I was just gonna put a note that just every single place you go has dead spots, it seems like. I mean,
Absolutely.
and places we want to ride motorcycles have more dead spots. There's no dead spots in downtown Chicago, but no one wants to really ride in downtown Chicago very long.
Right. And when you're up in the mountains too,
It's classic.
there's just not enough cell
It's more
towers.
dead than not. I mean, I know
Yeah.
when we rode through Montana, it was wicked. I mean, it was
Yeah.
really rough. All right, our number 3 hack for the best motorcycle trips is just tools and stuff. I that's what it's a
Yeah.
very official term, tools and stuff. But I think maybe even in order, this is a tough one, but in order of use is, a multi-tool, uh, zip ties, flashlight, and I'd say, oh, I mean, everything's so small now. A handheld flashlight, like they make them. I've got one that has like a little set of cob lights on the
Mhm.
side that really light things up, and a headband light, only because we're old as hell now, and it seems like I can't see anything no matter what.
Right.
So if I have the headlight, then at least I can find the flashlight.
Yeah.
Would be the hope.
Or true. That's a great one.
And
Well,
then,
you don't always have your hands free. You gotta have that headlight,
well,
on your headband.
and anytime I'm working on anything, I pretty much got to lay on the ground anyway, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and then duct tape. If you can find a small thing of duct tape, I think it's good.
Duct tape, not only could you fix a rip in like your bags, you could a rip in your jacket or a rip in your pants.
Yeah.
You can, if your visor breaks loose on one
Yeah.
side. I've had that happen. You can just duct tape it to the side of your helmet until you get to
I
the next
forgot about like
shop.
helmet problems because I put a list together of things that we've experienced. Side covers flying off, so you could duct tape that back on. I had some fender issues where it locked my front wheels or my handlebars, and I used the multi tool to I literally
Yeah.
tore parts of the fender off to get it to get free. As mentioned in the teaser, the kickstand, I went over a railroad tracks kickstand dang near fell off, and so then we zip tied that back on.
Well, the bolt
The
went
bolt
missing.
was
Yeah,
gone,
was
yeah.
gone. Yeah.
Clutch switch, that one actually required also the added of a paper clip. The clutch
Yeah.
switch went out, and we ended up hot wiring it so it would always start. So we bypassed the clutch switch. The clutch switch went out. Low battery. I don't know if that would actually be help from this, but we can link in the show notes to the jump packs. This was a long time ago. First trip down actually to the tail of the dragon, and one of our guys should have replaced his battery. You know who you are. And my favorite part about this was I ended up riding a 1978 Golden Wing down there, and the whole time I was going to be in trouble because that bike was going to break down on our way. And I will tell you that I did jumpstart him in Nashville. So
Nice.
one for
The gold wing. The classic gold wing.
oh gosh. But going down there, I will. In all honesty, it was raining on the way down. And I wasn't sure if we're going to make it through the rain with that thing. So, but zip ties are also, good for. I like to use them to mess with you mostly. Just zip tie any sorts of things.
Yeah, I remember.
Brakes. You zip tie someone's brake on. a clutch on, just random other things. I mean, it's always good for that as well.
Yeah, and I know some people will also carry a few carabiners with them.
Mm-hmm.
And what would you use that for? Well, you could clip them on your belt and then put your gloves on there. You could,
If you do that, I'm gonna zip tie you. So
I'm
just know this.
I'm just saying if you don't want to lose things, then you could use them to connect your helmet, through the strap to your bike.
Those are handy.
Yeah, they can come in handy, and or your water bottle. If you're going to clip your water bottle onto your belt, you're going to walk in. You're carrying other things. You can use them for all kinds of stuff. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you're wrong. All right. The number 2 hack for motorcycle trips was really around packing. We've talked about a couple of these before, I think, but you know, you and I now have moved to rain gear on the right for a couple of reasons. One, if you're putting that rain gear on in kind of a sticky situation, if you're on the road, that way you're usually in America anyway, on the road off side. So when you get off the bike to the right, then your rain gear will be on that side, so you're not in the travel portion. And I put, then we're packing on the top if you have room.
Yeah, keep
That
keep
because
the,
the first thing you can grab.
keep the rain gear up high.
Yeah.
You don't want to be digging through a whole bunch
No,
of
well, you got to
bags.
take everything out, and then
Yeah,
everything's
yeah.
getting wet
Wet,
while you
right.
yeah. So and then tools. I actually flip over and put those in the left hand side. I put all the tools in one bag and I put it on the bottom because hopefully we won't need to use them. But I put all the tools into one bag, so then I can kind of push I can slide out the bottom and it comes out. So, and then just kind of, it's not a thing, but it's a thing is, just don't overpack. I mean, so many times, uh, we've overpacked. I mean, I think this last trip to Seattle, I did a pretty good job and I still felt like I had too many bags. So,
Yeah, I remember a trip not too long ago, maybe about 4 years ago. I think it was just you and I went on a trip, and I absolutely overpacked. We were going for about 5 days. The problem was when I would go into the hotel at night,
yeah.
I had all my bags packed up so that I could just reach in, open the trunk, and grab one bag. Then side, was
Mm-hmm.
one bag, and this side was one bag. But then by the time you get your jacket, your helmet, everything, I think I made 3 trips in and out every night.
We go in and then you got to bring it all out in the morning.
Yeah,
So,
and so it's 3 trips
yeah.
in and then 3 trips out, and they were heavy, and I really didn't need everything, but I had it kind of spread out in a way that I had to
Mhm.
take everything in because I had, stuff for the bathroom in one bag, and I had my shirts in this bag and pants in this bag, so
Yeah, I'm really
think about that, like, at night, what's the easiest way to get into the hotel carrying less stuff?
absolutely. And I'm working on I think figuring out a really easy way to attach a seat bag. Now, that doesn't work so well if you're two up, but man, a seat bag is really pretty slick. And if you can
Mhm.
especially figure out a way I'm trying to figure out if you can Velcro that thing. So, because seat bags aren't going to fly off on most of the motorcycles we're taking on these longer trips. And so, like, I don't know, like, it doesn't take much to keep them on the bike.
Mhm.
So, easy way to get them off would be pretty slick too. So, you use packing cubes sometimes,
I
right?
do. I love packing cubes. I can organize things so much easier. Shirts are in one cube, pants are in one cube, shorts in a cube, And then inside the cubes, I actually roll. I take all my t-shirts,
Yeah.
do a little fold on them, and then roll them. You can roll them really tight. It also helps keep them from being wrinkled. When you unroll them,
Yeah.
they're nice and smooth. So it saves space. You can get more in each of the cubes. Not that I need more in each cube, but I
Well,
do like the
imagine how
cubes.
many bags you'd need if you didn't use the packing
Well,
cubes.
that's true.
The
Yeah.
other thing that I've done recently is like I lay out all my clothes and then I kind of pre-pack my days,
Hmm.
and then I'll put, like, if you're gonna roll, but like put your if you're gonna wear pants, shirt, undershirt, underwear, and then roll those up into one,
I love that.
because then, generally we usually stay in hotels and we're trying to cut down. So we have, two to three people in a hotel depending on
Yeah.
the layout, and it's tight, you know.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to get up and go into the shower in the morning, one thing works well. And then I think
Never tried that. I
I
like
don't
that
know
a
if
lot.
you haven't used it yet, but I don't think, but I'm in love with my 2 waterproof bags too.
Mhm.
So clean clothes go in one bag, dirty clothes go in the other. You don't waste any space in your bags. but you also don't transfer funk over from one to another. And especially like if we love to hit the hot tub. Well, you put the suit in the dirty clothes bag in the waterproof bag, and then the other clothes don't get wet too. So
Yeah.
big fan. I like the Wolfman bags for that. I don't know. I've got to email them and see if they still sell them because they're so thin. They're almost like a thin raincoat material. If they don't, I'm going to see if I can find some maybe like Tyvek bags because I think those are just as good.
Yeah.
Okay, down to the number one hack for motorcycle trips. This is kind of a new one, and it's pictures of all your like information that you don't want to lose. Driver's license, insurance, registration. I think if you want to go absolutely bonkers, you could put, medical history, personal information, emergency contacts. I think the suggestion here is maybe a flash drive. Now, I think you should probably put on your phone and the flash drive both.
I would do both.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. Or even on a card.
Yeah, memory card, like
memory
a phone
card.
Yeah, or a camera card.
Camera card is what I was thinking.
Yeah, because we carry a bunch of those chips. And if you do carry that, it's probably good to carry like a USB adapter. Most of the hotels you go to, you can plug a drive in. So if you needed it, I mean, because, it would be absolutely ludicrous if somebody left the state and went to different states without their driver's license. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
I love this one. This for sure is my favorite hack of all.
I agree. And I know that a lot of states are now becoming states that accept picture, Google Wallet style IDs. And one more I thought of as we're sitting here talking was, because this happened to me too. We went, it was a Labor Day ride. We left on August 28th and my debit card expired on the 29th or whatever, the 30th of August. So it was Labor Day and I'm like, I can't get gas.
Right.
So so make sure to check that too. A picture of an expired credit card probably not going to help. But I know that
you're saying just to review your cards, your
pre-review. Maybe when you're doing the pre-ride and testing your brakes, then go ahead and check those cards too.
That's a good one.
This is a section we call the toolkit. We share motorcycle gear review, and other riding tips. All right, for the toolkit, kind of covered all this today, but I thought maybe we could just talk about a couple of our favorites. I've talked about the Water Z Big Jug if you want to add a kind of a bite valve style thing. It's a gallon jug with straps. It really works well. I mean, the only thing that stinks about it is carrying it around sometimes. And then I'm a big fan of Leatherman. I think they're kind of the multi-tool experts. There's so many different versions, and you don't need a huge one to make it happen. I think making sure you have a knife, probably the, a Phillips and a flathead, and then, pliers. Those are the ones, and there is a lot of there's some really nice compact ones that have Allen head and some socket ones too that all fold up into just hand-sized stuff. And then I was just going to mention the Wolfman bags again. Is there any specific brands that you like? I mean, there's generic of a lot of these things, which is most of the time really good. But I mean, there's always
I bought some stuff from Wing Stuff because I have a Gold Wing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't Gold Wing brand, but it was made for a wing. From Wing Stuff.
Wing Stuff has a lot of what I would say premium things. The cell phone holders and some of those. They're pretty well good, and they're really good about helping you out after the sale. Whereas like a lot of times on Amazon you're on your own, right?
Right.
Awesome. If you like the podcast today, please like and subscribe. Sign up for the BMR Rider Alerts. It's kind of our way of keeping you in the loop, and we promise no spam.
Keep the spirit of adventure alive, and remember, bikes, friends, and endless roads, the stories ride forever. Take care.